Hey everybody, it's Golmadex, and welcome back to another Arena Cube draft. Without further ado, let's get into the pack one, pick one. As always in Cube, tons of super powerful options, and we can kind of head in whatever direction we want. We can go for some big beef with Kogla in green, and then Tuco Slicer is also an insane value play. If you can kick it for the black, you're getting a card from your graveyard back to your hand and a card from your opponent's graveyard into your hand, which is pretty cool. So Slicer might actually be really good value. Path to Exile is great removal, although you do want to use it later in the game when your opponent gets less benefit from the mana ramp it gives them. Huatli's decent fixing. Springheart Nantuko has a really good landfall trigger. There's just tons of stuff going on in the opening pack, like always. We just did a 5-color green goop pile. That was pretty fun, and we've played mono black before. I kind of want to head towards a red deck here. Ideally, like a really aggressive deck like mono red aggro could be fun. But Boros is another great aggressive red deck, and Pillar of Flame's a super flexible card where it's going to fit into any red deck. We can play this in a more controlling kind of blue-red build or Grixis build or anything like that as well. So let's go for Pillar of Flame here. And now the Gold Span Dragon's a really easy follow-up, so we can roll with that. Oh yeah, we also did Rakdos control, so I guess we've played red before. We actually haven't played white yet, outside of our 5-color deck. That's what we're missing this time on the cube around. But I love me some red decks. I think every time the cube comes around, I have to do mono red at least one time. Go back to my roots here. So Gold Span Dragon's another card that's going to be great in any red deck, unless it's like insanely controlling, because this is great in aggro or mid-range. And even in more controlling decks, it can ramp towards your big finisher, so big fan of Gold Span Dragon. Pick 3. Trumpeting Carnosaur is a really flexible card because you can discard it for the 3 damage as a removal in the early game, but also if you top deck it in the late game, it's your finisher. A 7/6 Trampler that's going to let you cast another spell for free with that Discover 5, so big fan of that. Although there is War Leader's call towards going Boros specifically, there's also Jace the Mind Sculptor here. First time on Arena, first time in the cube. Maybe we go towards blue-red spells here. A little bit more controlling red deck, but it is a pretty good color pair. Lots of cards that benefit off of casting instants and sorceries, or that can like recast instants and sorceries in your grave. So I actually think Jace the Mind Sculptor, this is a pretty sweet opportunity to try this card out for the first time on Arena. Pick 4, well, there's Roaring Furnace, Steaming Sauna. We can try the new blue-red build around. I guess this isn't much of a build around, outside of the fact that you have to be blue and red for it. You can really put this in anything. If it's in your opening hand, you get to Roaring Furnace away whatever you need, and Steaming Sauna can be used to win the card advantage war in the late game. Yeah. Blue-red, Jace, Roaring Furnace, Sauna stuff. See how it pans out for us. Pick 5, Stoic Sphinx. Quite a finisher. There's also Kolaghan's Command. If we move towards Grixis, this is an excellent piece of interaction. It's incredibly flexible, and it's always a 2-for-1. Destroy an artifact, pick up a creature from your grave, or deal 2 to their 2 toughness creature and make them discard a card. These are all really good options. I'm actually a very big fan of Kolaghan's Command, and I think the fixing in this cube is very good now, because we have the fetch lands and we have a bunch of lands with basic land types that we can fetch off of the fetch lands. Like we can grab a Triome off of any of the fetch lands in the cube. Alright, so good red aggro stuff, but also great controlling stuff. Nightclub Bouncer really slows your opponent down. If you bounce their 4-drop creature, now it costs 6 mana to recast it. Plus, because it has flash, sometimes you get to eat one of their more aggressive, cheaper creatures, or at least trade in while you get that enter the battlefield effect. Nightclub Bouncer is great for this more controlling, maybe Grixis-y direction we're headed. Pick 7. There's a Censor, which is a solid counter, because you can cycle it away when it's no longer relevant. Intrude on the Mind is decent card draw. Like those. Grim Lavamancer's fun. If you have a deck just loaded with instants and sorceries, you're naturally going to fill your graveyard with those, and then this turns into a little machine gun. So I do like that card as well. I think we're actually getting pretty deep towards blue here, so I'm going to grab the Censor, continue in that direction. Abomination, fine Grixis Finisher. It's a 6 mana 5/5, but it's also going to cast something for free. Either a random card from their hand, graveyard, or top of their library, whatever is the strongest card you manage to exile off the crab. Ooh, Treasure Cruise. Let's go. I could also take Pyroclasm. It's going to help a lot against aggressive decks. The problem is the cube is pretty wide. Like it supports a wide array of archetypes where there are going to be plenty decks where this really kills like one creature or zero. So it's going to be really awkward in the wrong matchup. I think Treasure Cruise is just always going to be good, but so is Long Goodbye. Very efficient removal there. And it can kill Planeswalkers, which is cool, but I'm just going to go Treasure Cruise. The potential to just 1 mana draw 3 is quite absurd. Pick 10, Tribal Flames is 2 mana 3 damage in a 3-color deck, which is fine. That's on rate. This Liliana's not great unless you're a very creature-heavy deck, which might not be here. Kind of like trying out Unnerving Grasp, another card that's new to the cube, and this one could be interesting as basically letting you play another creature in your deck, but technically counting as an instant or sorcery. So if we get any of the cards that care about those, that helps, like Steam Core Scholar here. So we can just discard 1 card by discarding an instant or sorcery. Sure. Ornithopter Paradise, nice and late. We will actually play that in a 3-color deck here. Splash in some black. Razor Demon is the close to being playable for us, but right now black is certainly its splash color, so I'm not super pumped about it. I think I like Unable to Scream better than the Lock Wheel. It's just insanely efficient at shutting something off. Okay, we have Bone Crusher Giant, which is a great 2-for-1. Clear something out with Stomp, and then also get a 4/3 body to trade off. Oracle of the Alpha, which loads your deck with some of the strongest cards ever printed. That said, drawing any of the Moxes in the late game is basically just a dead draw, so it does fill your deck with some mana flood as well. So it's a double-edged sword, but it's also insanely fun, because Ancestral Recall and Time Walk and Time Twister are all absurdly powerful cards. Well, we haven't gotten to do the Oracle of the Alpha thing this time around yet, so let's do that here. See if we get to cast some of the Power 9. Phantasmal Image is super efficient. It's also another card that's first time on Arena. Got added when Duskmourn went live, so we get to play a lot of the new hotness here, which is nice. It's also Flooded Strand. Should probably take that very highly right now, seeing as we have no fixing in the mana base. And Flooded Strand, while in our deck, is just going to be crack it for an island. If we manage to get an island swamp or an island mountain or a triome, that is going to still help quite a lot. Actually, I think our deck is looking maybe greedy enough mana base to just take the Flooded Strand here, but we do have an alternate, just pure blue-red. If we don't pick up any fixing, we can just go for a 2-color build to keep it more reasonable, so I'm still going to go Phantasmal Image. I think it's really cool. And pick 3. Stoke the Flames is not very efficient in a deck that's not running a lot of creatures, so I'm not pumped about that. I guess Opt just lets you get through your deck and find what you need pretty easily. Or Aether Channeler is decent value, decent flexibility as well. Not a super exciting pack for us, but Opt and Aether Channeler look fine. I guess it could be really annoying. We could be full tempo here, go Unnerving Grasp, Nightclub Bouncer, and Aether Channeler. 3 ways to bounce opposing threats. So we just kind of play these bounce creatures into like maybe a big hasty dragon, try to tempo our opponent out rather than being full control. We just try to slow them down and control them long enough for our random 2/2s we're getting off of all our bounce spells and our hasty creature to kill them before they resolve all their stuff. Seems fine. 3 steps ahead is super flexible. I think I like that here. The Roller Crusher Rite is also good if you can get Delirium consistently. If you can't get Delirium consistently, it does take like 7 mana before you're super happy with it. In the right matchup, it's going to be pretty great. But again, the wrong matchup, you really need Delirium to kill the big creatures. Just go for the more flexible 3 steps ahead. Snapcaster Mage, A+++++ in blue-red, because we have tons of instants and sorceries to copy with this. The flexibility of being able to counter something if we need to, with 3 steps ahead or something out of grave, or burn something away with Pillar of Flame, or bounce something with a recast of Unnerving Grasp. Just very good flexibility once you've got some spells in your graveyard. Hey, we found the perfect triome. Blue, black, and red. I don't think we can take anything over that, even though Cruelty of Gix and Spyglass Siren look pretty decent. Pick 7. There's another good blue-red spells card. Cyba Siphoner. Pick up an instant or sorcery from our grave, put it back in our hand. It's basically Snapcaster Mage. If we have no instants or sorceries in hand, we're only cost 2. That said, double blue's a slightly hard cost, and Chrome Host Seed Shark is also very good. Every non-creature spell we cast gives us an XX incubator, so 2 mana to flip it into that size creature. So if we cast a 3 mana spell like Unnerving Grasp, now we have a 3/3 Phyrexian Egg laying in wait. I should take the Seed Shark here. Pick 8. Strangle. Need some more nice, cheap, efficient removal, and it's very good to recast off of Snapcaster Mage. Could also take Tybalt, another massive finisher. But I don't think we need too many massive finishers and stuff. We can kind of tempo people out with cheaper creatures here with the amount of bounce that we have in the deck. I think just cheap interaction is going to be insanely important. Pick 9. There's a Chandra that can also recast stuff from grave, or an ill-timed explosion that can wipe the whole board, potentially. I think those are certainly the picks. I'm going to go for the Chandra here.
But I'm totally the best pyromancy student.
Pick 10 shows us nothing. Pick 11, we get the opt back. Pick 12, nowhere to run. Off the splash. 13, Mole Drifter. Pick 14, Spyglass Siren, and those were all just really simple, like kind of the only on-color card in each of those packs. It's a very simple ending to pack 2, and we basically already have a deck here. So we can be 100% free to take lands over everything because we already have more than 23 non-land playables. So I'm going to slam dunk the Scalding Tarn here. This is basically a second copy of Xander's Lounge at worst. It's just pay 1 life, get a Xander's Lounge, which is already great. And if we manage to get more dual lands, it's going to be even better than that. So let's grab the Scalding Tarn here. Obliterating Bolt, Young Pyromancer obviously would be pretty solid options for this deck, as would the Blink of an Eye or the Kite Sail Larcenist. But again, we already have more than 23 non-land playables. We're going to spend every pick that we can on good mana, and when there's not good mana, then we can grab some more options for the deck. Like Thieving Haven, heist cards are kind of broken. Have to consistently deal damage to your opponent to heist them, but heisting in this format is ridiculous. Looking at 3 non-land cards of your choice, putting 1 into your hand, and casting it for mana of any color. Heist is real good. So is Go for the Throat. So is Deep Cavern Bat and Sheoldred. But I'd rather splash in removal than like a double black card like Sheoldred or a cheap creature like Deep Cavern Bat. And Inferno Titan's also a good finisher. There's tons of options here, but I think we show off the heist mechanic here. The alchemy cards are kind of nasty. Pick 3, there is no land fixing here, so we have a Brainstorm, draw 3, put 2 back. We've got an Overlord of the Flood Pits for a big finisher. Enduring Curiosity could be really good. In tempo, we do have like 13 creatures. This has Flash as well, so we get to hold up like a counterspell. I think Enduring Curiosity is kind of an insane card, because by itself, drawing a card every time it hits your opponent's already good. But if we have curved into it with any of our little bounce creatures or anything, then it's like super good. I'm going to take this Enduring Curiosity. It's also, once again, new to the cube, so we're playing tons of new to the cube stuff here. Once again, no Grixis lands, so Brazen Borrower looks great for this deck. We are really maximizing the amount of bounce that we have and the amount of flyers that we have. Bounce, of course, playing well to slow our opponent down while we get our board built up, start chipping away at them with Evasive Threats, which is the other half of this card, a flying body that plays really well with Enduring Curiosity, plus plays really well when almost all our creatures are flying in the first place. Okay, no lands here either. I feel like somebody here is probably drafting 5 color because a lot of these packs have had very few lands. So we've got Phyrexian Metamorph or Magma Opus, really. Magma Opus is so much mana for this deck, but it's also super fun and almost always lethal. I feel like Monastery Swiftspear is more of what we want to be here, or more of where we want to be here. But we'll see. If we end up in a lot of games where we actually make it, no! Oh, that's so sad. That is the one wombo combo in the cube. Is you can discard Magma Opus to get a treasure token, and then you can cast it for free off of Gear Hulk. This deck still absolutely runs Gear Hulk. As 6 mana at the very top of the curve looks fine for this deck. 8 mana is still concerning. But what I was gonna say before Gear Hulk showed up and made me so sad about not taking Magma Opus was that we'll see when we get to the gameplay how many games we end up in where we do have like 8 mana in the end game. And if we end up in a lot of those, then it'll be rough. We'll be like, yeah, probably should have taken the the thingamadude. You know, I don't know if we're splashing black anymore. I've got more than enough playables without the black, so I don't even need this restless fence here. We can just take another play with fire. Or burn down the house or commit to memory. Oh wow. Boom shakalaka. Get in here, steam vents. Fetchable by the Scalding Tarn. Passing up on Royal Eruption. Jewelist of the Mind's also fine here. We've got a lot of ways to commit a crime. Man. The good packs are like really clumping up for us, which is awkward. Looks like our colors are wide open there because this is every single blue and red card that we opened. Every single one came back to us. Instant sorcery count 8. That's not a super spicy young pyro then. I guess I'll just take the obliterating bolt here. We've got a lot going on at 3 mana. Larcenist is fine removal, but so much at 3 mana. Let's get some more cheaper removal with the obliterating bolt. Pick 10, repeals a tempo play. Probably one of our first cuts though, because you do have to spend a lot of mana on it to bounce a big permanent. It is one of the best ways to kill a token though. If your opponent has a really good token on board, 1 blue mana, kill a token, draw a card. Pretty nasty. Another 4-drop flyer might not be bad. Oh my god, we wield the Magma Opus. We have the Wombo Combo Dream Team because no one's playing blue-red. Well, except for us, obviously. So now we can discard a Magma Opus and cast it for free off a Gear Hulk. If we're really lucky. If we're not lucky, we have to hope to get 8 mana, which probably doesn't happen too often in this deck, but we'll see. Alright, this looks really spicy, even with just blue and red, so I'm going to stick to just blue and red. I'm still playing the Xander's Lounge as a blue-red tap land that we can cycle away or grab off of Steam Vents. Or, sorry, Scalding Tarn. So despite not having any black spells, we're still going to run the Lounge for blue-red. And let's sort by the mana curve of how much we actually have to spend on these things, because obviously 3 steps ahead, we can't ever play for just a single mana. Treasure Cruise is going to be like 4 mana or less. Roaring Furnace, that's a 2 mana removal spell with a Steaming Sauna as just a backup plan attached. I don't think any of the creatures go anywhere else in the curve. I guess Borrower, we can bounce something for 2. Snapcaster goes higher on the curve. We're never doing that with just 2 mana. Alright. Alright, so let's get to our actual cuts here. I do want a decent creature count here because we're going kind of the tempo direction. It looks like we're just going to go for a bunch of flying threats, a bunch of bounce spells, and then tons of interaction. It's going to be the game plan. So, maybe some of the slower, higher mana value threats can get out of here. Although, there's not a ton of those, really. Gearhold, there's no way I can cut it. Goldspan Dragon's really good. Overlord's pretty good and flexible on the curve. We can drop it with less than 5 mana just to get the card draw going. Probably cut Muldrifter. I feel like Overlord is just like a better Muldrifter for this deck. There are decks that can use Muldrifter better than Overlord. And obviously the value is a little higher. 5 mana, 2/2 flyer, draw 2 straight up. Versus draw 2, discard 1 for 5 mana. But this is a 5/3 body instead of a 2/2 body. And it can trigger over and over if it gets some attacks off. So I think Overlord's probably better here without like Graveyard reanimation where you can reanimate the Mole Drifter, or like a flicker effect where you can flicker it. And we might cut both. Probably not. But yeah, again, let's go just flyers and bounce spells for the most part here. No longer playing any black, so we don't need the fixing of Ornithopter of Paradise as much, but we could still use the ramp getting to a Gearhulk or a Magma Opus. Might be fine. Also, I think we're cutting down on red a bit here. We're much higher on blue than red, so maybe getting rid of some of our double red mana costs or our early red creatures makes things easier. And Chandra's kinda dirtily. 2 recasts for 3 mana. Now what if we just cut like double reds and then a Swift Spear here and just play red removal that it's okay to draw later in the game? And the only double red we have is Goldspan Dragon. I don't think this deck needs a Goldspan Dragon. I mean, it's still a good card, but I could cut it and just have only single pip red cards, and then red's really easy to hit. The mana base is super, super easy. Just deep into blue. But I think we can afford some red here. But I gotta cut something, so I think that's just an easy way to do it, is cut a lot of the red there. I do think I have a ton of bounce even without repeal, and it's going to be one of the more expensive ways to bounce, like non-token cards, so we can drop that. Still at like 14 creatures, plus an Unnerving Grasp. I think we're still cutting more creatures. Looks like 3 mana is really where we're clumped up here. Well, I guess if you look at it this way, not really. It's kind of just a good curve. I guess Steam Core Scholar is the weakest 3-drop, but we have so many instant sorceries and flyers in here. It's gonna be solid card draw. If I cut 4 spells, what would I be cutting here? I suppose we've got a lot of nice instant and sorcery removal and bounce, so cutting Unable to Scream to run exclusively the spells that we can actually recast off of Snapcaster Mage or Gearhulk seems decent. Because this obviously can't be. I could see that as a cut. I don't know what else to cut though. It's too good. Cube cards are too strong. Bit of a whiplash going from the core set to the cube here. Recorded a bunch of core set and then some Capenna before this, and now I'm recording cube again, and I'm like, oh my god, this deck is too strong. What do I even cut? It's difficult for sure. I guess I'll cut one of these 5 red burn spells. Which one's the worst? Probably Pillar of Flame? Because Play with Fire is just an instant speed Pillar of Flame that doesn't exile. Depends how valuable the ability to exile is, but Play with Fire is also, being an instant, means it's another Gearhulk card. Gearhulk's weird in that it only lets you recast instants, not sorceries. So making sure to have some more instant options, just in case we don't get the Magma Opus Wombo combo is good. So I'll run Play with Fire over the whatever I just cut. I already forgot its name. 2 cuts to go. I like having just a 1-drop to curve out with. So there's a possibility to go 1, 2, 3 curve. But I guess if I draw Spyglass Siren later in any game, it's going to be quite a dead draw. Whereas all of our other like 2 or 3 mana creatures are still pretty dang relevant later in the game. So I could still cut the Spyglass Siren anyway. Play things a little bit slower. Sure. I'll cut the Siren. And how bad would it be to cut a land in this deck? Well, first and foremost, if I draw an Opt or a Censor and I need another land, I can cycle either of those just pretty much instantly. Just anything else that helps with mana? Not really. but Opt and Censor being instantly cyclable to turn them into a land is decent. Or to draw a card closer to a land. You're not guaranteed to turn these into a land. But if you draw one, you can be like, oh, I'm a 39 card deck with 16 lands. This might be greedy, but I'm doing it. I'm cutting a mountain. 16 lander here, even though we have a great 6-drop and an 8-drop. We have a lot castable early. And some card draw. Can Overlord for 3 mana digging towards lands. We can draw a card off of Aether Channeler, Censor, Opt. This Treasure Cruise as well could potentially be castable for like 3 or less if we've cast enough instants and sorceries and stuff. But we'll see. I think the mana base looks pretty incredible here. We have 8, 9, 10, 11 blue sources and 8 red sources. So this is going to be super easy to always hit our double red and our double blue. Might even go 9-4 split on islands and mountains here. But no, this seems reasonable. We do want that red mana available almost turn 1 every game. Yeah, let's do the thing. Blue-red spells here, and blue-red just tempo flyers, using a lot of cards that are new to the cube. Phantasmal Image, Overlord of the Flood Pits, Enduring Curiosity, Roaring Furnace. See how all these new Duskmourn goodies play in the Arena Cube as we head into the gameplay and see how it does. Here we are for game 1 against the Retina of the Human Eye, apparently. We have the Wombo combo, so this is like the snap is the snap keeps. And hopefully, we can just go crazy here. Opus Gearhulk, GG. Might even have a Chrome Host Seed Shark on board when we do that. And then we get an 8/8 Incubator. That'd be wild. Fanatic of Ronas. Our opponent's got some mana ramp nice and early, but I've got the Obliterating Bolt, and I think I'm just going to do that. Being able to specifically exile the card with the Eternalize ability is great. Otherwise, they could get a 4/4 version of that ramps even more. So, just bolting the bird here, keeping them from playing a 4-drop on us, and keeping them from reanimating that. Alright. Opus Gearhulk is particularly absurd because it allows you to Gearhulk turn 5, because the Opus gives you the treasure token for it. And I think we're just going for that. Our opponent is 5-color stuff here. Yep, and we're in a really good position to go for it because we even get to hold up a Censor here. If they try to play a Golos or something, we can do that instead. Okay, that's fine. Means no more lands in their hand though, right? If they cast that for only 2? Yeah, so 4 spells in their hand. Okay, tap 2 target permanents. Deal 4 as you choose. Okay, so we want to Gearhulk during their upkeep, right after they untap. We are praying this 5-color deck is not running counter spells, but I think generally they shouldn't be. If they were like a deeper blue deck here, I might just play it much differently here to play around counters, but I really don't think this mana base is going to be playing counter spells. Okay, 3 damage there, 1 damage there. Tap the Triome and a duel. Submit. Resolve. Beautiful turn. They're dead in 2 swings on board. We have 9 power, they're at 18. The bounce of the Seed Shark was pretty good for our opponent. We don't get our 8/8 Incubator. We would have had lethal in one turn with the Seed Shark and the Incubator being 10 damage. Alright, Pest Infestation, kill the Gear Hulk, get some pests. Fair enough. Can Jace one and Channeler the other? I don't actually have enough mana for that. I don't mind Jacing a pest here, though, so I just attack in. If they chump, I'll Jace the other pest, holding up a sensor. And that seems decent. Bonnie Paul certainly gets countered. Overlord of the Flood Pits. Pretty good. Guess I actually want to uptick Chase then. Because I can draw 2, discard 1 here, so I get to scry 1 and then draw 2, discard 1. Okay, I like that. I'm going to keep that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't have the mana to Overlord plus cast the Aven. I can actually only cast 1 spell here no matter what I play. Well, I think it's the Overlord anyway. I think I play the land here regardless, because getting to 8 mana to go like Seed Shark Sauna could be big. Toxic Deluge, alright. Board is wiped, but they're at 11 with only 2 cards in hand. 3 steps ahead is a huge one, so I get to play Seed Shark and hold that up. Now we just start brainstorming. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have not played land for turn, so I keep this and redraw some sorcery speed stuff. Sauna. You know, let's go Aven and Channeler. But keep all the instants here. And just hold them up to keep this game on lock. We have the perfect response for anything they do. We have a counter, we have a bounce, we have whatever we want to do with Snapcaster. House Meld, they're going to get their own Seed Shark with that thing. That is certainly going to be a counter. No counters in grave for Snapcaster, so we 3 steps ahead it. I could also draw 2, discard 1 off this, because I'm not holding anything else up. That also makes my Incubator... Oh, it doesn't make my Incubator bigger. Dang. Sad Incubator. Alright, there's the concession from our opponent. They are so over it, and fair enough. Jace the Mind Sculptor into pure control. Pretty excellent stuff. But particularly, actually completely forgot already somehow, the Magma Opus Torrential Gear Hulk to start things off was just filthy. Alright, game 2, here we go. Excellent mana. Early removal with Roaring Furnace, and we absolutely take over the late game. Being able to unlock a Steaming Sauna, drop an 8-drop Magma Opus. Our biggest concern here is if they're very aggressive and we need to kill multiple early creatures, but Field of the Dead does not look like they're very aggressive. That said, we have a completely different concern now, which is that we can't do anything about Field of the Dead. We can't counter it, we can't blow it up, and we can't just keep spending 1/4 removal on the zombie tokens it produces. Field of the Dead is actually quite a solid win condition against our deck, because we're going to need to try to outrace that, and this is not the fastest hand to do so. So here's the 5-color deck that's going to be running a lot of fetch lands. Grab whatever duels and triomes they need. There's the hedge maze to surveil 1. And they keep it on top. So we expect anybody playing Field of the Dead is going to be on a 5-color deck because they need to run a ton of non-basics anyway. Snapcaster. Not bad, but it isn't actually good with Roaring Furnace, which is a little sad. We actually don't have anything for the Snapcaster yet. If we make it really, really far, we can Magma Opus and Flashback Magma Opus. Need a ton of mana though. Cultivate's going to be excellent for opponent. Grab 2 basics. So probably running 1 of everything so they can find whatever they need. There's Plains Forest. Well, we've exclusively seen Bant mana from our opponent. Green, white, and blue, so they might not actually be the full 5-color here. Sack a land, search for land, put on tap, shuffle. That is very good with Field of the Dead. I would really like to kill that thing. But I suppose best I can do here is Nightclub bounce it for now. That looks like the best use of my turn. Kind of want to do it while it's still summoning sick. So I'm just going to do it right now. That way they can't activate it in response. And find great mana. Yeah, because then they could play the forest, crack the forest to the Reclaimer to turn that into a land with a different name. Because that is part of the thing about Field of the Dead. It has to be 7 lands with different names, not just 7 lands, period. So if they hit any duplicate lands like 2 forests or 2 plains, that slows them down, which is great for us. Don't want to be an idiot. I'm going to be an idiot. No world in which this is the right play over Overlord, but too bad. It's funny. We have the power 18 in our deck. 46 cards now. They've got their 6th out of 7 lands and a great henge, so they draw a card off of every non-token, please. Thank God. If that triggered off of all the Field of the Dead zombies, our opponent would be going insane here. Hello, Mox Ruby. 6, 1 mana off. 1 mana off what I want. All right, so we get the double scry first, right? Yeah. And then draw off of Overlord into whatever we scry into. Come on, Time Walk. I like the Gold Span Dragon, but I won't even play it next turn anyway, because I'm gonna play Overlord this turn, I think, because I'm on 7 mana out of 8. I'm actually just gonna ditch that. We have the power 18 in our deck. I think we can ditch that. I guess it's the power 17 now. It's kind of bad right now, actually. But I can discard it to the Overlord to have it as an option for Snapcaster Mage later, which is kind of legit. So I think I'm going to do that. But right now, we just be fueling our opponent way more than us. Reclaimer, get the trigger. Yeah, here they go. Field of the Dead, wee! Can't block any flyers, though, and they only have 2 cards in hand. Okay, I need this land to be able to Opus next turn. So we are doing the thing of ditching Time Twister and having it as a Snapcaster option. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. Yeah, I need to draw another mana next turn. But then we're there. Sure. Wrath of God's not great, but honestly not the worst. Because we've got the Magma Opus to recover. And they've got a Naturalize off of the Vantasar to blow up the Steaming Sauna? Sure. Okay. Well. Wonder what we're doing this turn. Do I actually not tap the Vantasar so I can actually kill 2 zombies? I think I don't tap the Vantasar so Opus can kill 2 zombies. I guess if they attack with Vantasar, I can throw the 4/4 and 2 damage at it. So that would work too. Whenever another creature you control enters, that and that creature... Okay, well, I will kill a zombie and that. And deal 1 to them, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap. And it doesn't matter what else I tap because they can just tap it for mana in response. So yeah, just not overthink it. Just throw it somewhere where it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 1, 1. Thieving Aven and a mana. If we draw Mox, we can Snapcaster Opus next turn. Ooh, the Null Drifter. Draw 3. 2 from Drifter, 1 from Henge. This is a wild endgame. That does not work for us, because it's not a Mox. God dang it, it has Annihilator. I specifically remember Mark Rosewater saying that Annihilator was a hated mechanic and that they weren't going to ever do it again, but then they did. Because they can do whatever they want in Modern Horizons. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I mean, if I get annihilated here, I'm in a bad, bad spot. I guess we could be team Time Twister Prey for Time Walk next turn. I mean, I could have done that right now, I guess. But there are 2 out of the 39 cards are Time Walks, and we'd be drawing 7. I guess it's not 30, it's more than that, because these all get shuffled into... Oh, man. Alright, yeah, we're gonna have to just get Time Walk loops or something somehow. Our opponent is on Draft Every Land and all the big spells of the deck, but it works real well with Field of the Dead. And ramp stuff. And the Great Henge really here has been brutal. There's the world's most frustrating Annihilator. If they get another turn, we're just gonna lose. So I'm just gonna sack the 4/4 and take 10. And keep all of our mana. Here we go. Okay, okay. These don't trigger Seed Shark. I mean, I guess they do, but just hold the Seed Shark mana up. I feel like the only draw that's going to matter is Time Walk, which only costs 2, so I don't think we need to hold more than 2 extra mana up. So we will get this on the board. And I'll still have, let's see, blue and 1 for Snapcaster, blue 1, 2. I'll have exactly enough if I draw Time Walk. Actually, a little bit more than enough. So I could cast a Recall if I draw 1 to try to dig for the Time Walk. Oh, baby. All right. All right. So we have an extra turn now. All the mana in the world. Make sure we're drawing an extra card. Next turn. We're in the end step here. Play an Oracle. I'm really just putting more Moxes in if I do. Okay, I've got another Lotus, so I can play an Oracle or flip up 1 Incubator. Aether Channeler's huge. Can bounce Atraxa now. Oh my god. Can bounce Atraxa, flip everybody up. Can Thieving Aven them. Oh, I need some blockers here. Guess I technically should have done this first, but weaken their board a little bit. So I guess I hold Seed Shark up as the flying blocker here. And then Snapcaster is my little 2/2 idiot. Okay, 5/5 is the only one that can attack past Macias. If I sequenced things the other way, I could have been threatening to Furnace Macias away, actually, and attacked with a little bit more here. Let's see what we heist. They do chump with Macias. Nice. These all kind of suck for us. I don't think any of these really do anything. But I guess I'll just keep that in hand in case they board wipe me again. I've got a couple eggs and a Tumblewag now. Ah, one card off, no. Well, if we don't die this turn, we're doing it again. We're going for it. Ah, they board wiped me again. It's the same board wipe too, because we time twisted it back in. Oh, Oracle the Alpha is so dumb. What if this game just takes like 2 hours because we just keep time twisting? Yep, Atraxa again. Get a nice huge hand here, and then I'll just time twist it away to other stuff. Ooh, unless they haven't played a land yet this turn, then that Wooded Foothills is an issue. Double zombie. I guess they haven't played a land. No zombies on their board right now. Oh, they have. They played the land pre-Wrath. Feels good for us. Could let all these 0/0s die for fun, but that doesn't seem right. So now they get to spend some time discarding their worst cards, crafting the perfect 7, and then I'm just going to time twister anyway. Alright, Steam Core Scholar. I guess I play that pre-time twister. Since it's just going to get twisted away anyway, and this gives us chance at a time walk. Opt gives us a chance at a time walk, so goodbye, Moxes. Yes. 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 Time walk with Jace on board. Bouncy bounce. Twisty twist. Play all the Moxes we draw. A Lotus? Okay. Okay. Strangle the Guide. Lotus for Recall and Treasure Cruise? Oh no, I just shuffled my gray back and I can't Treasure Cruise. Probably. Maybe I can. Oh my god. Okay, Oracle's actually absurd. We have double time walk. That's just game. We have 2 more turns after this. Drawing an extra card each turn. Oh yeah, especially we get the Seed Shark here. Play with fire, boop. Mox to the bottom. Actually just hard cast Treasure Cruise just to flip the egg. Yeah, here's an 8/8. They're mega dead. Here's another time walk. Yeah. Alright. That was probably the longest game of the draft. Hopefully the longest game of the draft, but it was pretty sweet. We had a pivotal turn there where I could have just played an Overlord, draw 2, discarded 1, and just decided, you know what? Let's just Oracle copy Oracle and see how that does. And then it ended up in late game just time walk shenanigans. That is 2-0 heading into game 3. Snap Keep, great mana. None of our big finishers, but that's fine. The opening hand wants to just have the cheap spells anyway. There's a great finisher. Play the Tarn here so I can grab the Shock Land and play it tapped. If they don't play something we need to Petty Theft. If they do play something we need to Petty Theft, then I can still just do that. Okay. I could Petty Theft so I can play Oracle next turn. Or I guess I should play Thieving Haven next turn if I Petty Theft as well. You know what? Yeah, early Thieving Haven seems pretty legit here. Because I definitely need to bounce the Mana Dork, the Scrap Cordier. So if I don't Petty Theft there, then I have to play Channeler or Grasp this turn. Our opponent is not a fan of their position here. They are in the think tank. Probably considering whether they need the ramp badly enough to ramp instead of blowing up Avon. I think that would make the most sense as for what might take them a very long time. Okay. Give them a little boop. See what we heist. look at their whole hand. Gain some life, draw a card. Seems pretty decent. Oh boy. They have one card type in their grave right now. They're going to be on 5 mana next turn. They're just going to Time Warp, probably. Let's just put it on Time Warp. That's their best spell. They will be casting that for sure at some point. But if I, like, put it on Bill or Agent of Rafine, they can kind of easily just be like, I guess I just won't play them. But at some point, they're definitely going to cast Time Warp. We know they have 2 lands in hand and now a fresh draw, because the Thief reveals all the non-lands. They had no flying blockers until Emrakul, which is great for our Thieving Haven. Yeah, so they do cast the Time Warp anyway, even though we get to draw the card here. Feels good. Find Torrential Gearhulk, which would be really good if Scrap Gorger was not consuming my graveyard. Grenzo, oh man. Grenzo's a huge grown test because they get to cast the heisted card for free and heist another card every turn. Heist on ETB. Grenzo's just really, really stupid. And all I have in hand is bounce spells, so all I can hope to do is bounce Grenzo, in which case they just recast Grenzo and cast another card from my deck for free. Yeah, that's really not good for me. Free treasure cruise, good deal. There's the Magma Opus Gearhulk combo. They have no blockers in the sky, so we can heist them. Grenzo's out of reach, a Fatal Push. But I can push the Scrap Gorger at least for now. We can go push the Scrap Gorger. Well, no, I have 5 mana here. I don't think I'm casting any of this stuff right now. But push is probably the most useful in the long run. Yeah, it's gonna be bounce Grenzo, so at least they have to recast it instead of just getting the free upkeep trigger. And then cycle the Opus to be able to Gear Hulk and kill Grenzo off of Opus. I guess I Aether Channeler here, because they're just going to exile my Sorcery from Grave to Scrap Gorger. There's no Snapcaster flexibility in doing it the other way. Yeah, I can't push here and then still have Opus up next turn. I mean, I guess I could turn the Opus into a treasure token and push the Scrap Gorger if I gamble on top decking the 6th land, but that seems too bold. I need to have a guaranteed Gearhulk play to kill Grenzo. And this could also have them suspicious of a counterspell. We do have double blue up. So maybe we get 1 turn of reprieve from Grenzo. Anyway. No reprieve from Grenzo. See what they heist this time. The free heist is Oh no, is it like a counter spell? Is it our sensor? That would genuinely just demolish us here. Ah, shoot. I have no alternative line to deal with Grenzo, so I'm gonna do the thing. Oh, it's Nightclub Bouncer. Okay, that's fine. Sure. Let's do this while they're tapped out. And they're not a deck that should be running counter spells, most likely, but I might as well. I get a couple more damage this way. Four damage. Submit. Tap Bouncer. Ooh, didn't even draw lands off of the draw 2 there. Alright, they're down to 10. Only flyer in their hand is Emrakul. They have 2 card types in Graves. Emrakul costs 11. They have 7 mana. And if they want to use Scrap Gorger this turn, they have to exile another card from their grave. Nissa, oh. Well, we're still killing them in the sky, especially if they shock their face. That also feels ideal. Nissa can really get to the Emrakul, though, so I might have to kill Nissa. Because if they Emrakul us, they get to cast all of our spells against us. Have us bounce our own permanents, shoot our own stuff, counter our own spell. It's like super deadly if they do. Oh, the Flage off the Scrap Gorger. For the gain 3? Alright, we're definitely team kill Nissa then. Because we are not going to be killing them in just like 2 swings at this rate. So we need to keep them off Emrakul, which is probably like Fatal Push, Scrap Gorger, send everybody at Nissa. I guess I could Fatal Push their land. Same amount of mana either way that I'm killing. Plus the land is a blocker here. Okay. Oh, I have lethal. I have 11 exactly. So I do kill them. I guess if I flip a Phantasmal Image up, it's 0/0 and dies, but the manifest choice does not matter. Alright. Almost missed lethal there, because I was so concerned about Nissa ramping into the Emrakul. I was like so ready to send everybody at Nissa, but then I was like, wait a second. I mean, whatever play we make here, we're clearing out all the blockers so that we can finish the Nissa. But then I just realized, well, if we clear out all the blockers, that's exactly 11. And dome the face. That is 3-0 heading into game 4. All right, here we are for game 4. Little tiny bit concerning the amount of lands here, but we can cycle Censor away if we keep missing land drops. We've got some early interaction, which is great. And our first draw was excellent. We just already hit a land. And now I feel really safe. We can cast everything but the Bouncer. already. Mono white so far from our opponent could be pretty aggressive. This hand's great against aggro. The first 4 cards in hand are beautiful in that matchup. As we can see there. We counter that instead of killing it with Roaring Furnace, because killing it with Roaring Furnace allows them to still have the ability. It's one of the enduring cards that'll come back as an enchantment that is no longer a creature, but still gives them the card draw. Okay, Beza draws them a card here. It's a 4/5 body, which is pretty big, but just small enough here. Ooh, boy. That is an absolute nightmare. It's 3 turns away from doing its thing. Once it is a creature, I can nightclub bounce it, then they can still just impending it, sadly, but we gotta do the best we can do, and that's gonna be the best we can do. So, trying to clear a path for this Thieving Aven, but they're likely to have a piece of removal here. They haven't played any threats as of yet. Thousand Moon Smithy, alright. How do they flip this? Tap 5 untapped artifacts or creatures they control. Okay. Definitely need to start heisting them. If I Obliterating Bolt the Flyer, then I have more mana up for whatever I heist, but I have to grasp it. I mean, I guess if they block, that's also just fine. We don't heist anything, but I still have the Nightclub Bouncer once the Overlord's unlocked. And it doesn't even attack the turn it's unlocked, because it unlocks in the end step. Yeah, no, we can actually just attack here. Alright, cool. We get the free kill. 2 artifacts or creatures out, so we can actually just get Seed Shark down before we kill anything then. By playing it out this way. Now Seed Shark, when we start bouncing stuff, is going to be great. So Bouncer taxes casting the spell in general, and Impending does count as casting it for its impending cost, so it's still going to cost 6 for them to just get the 2 flyers when we Nightclub bounce it. Ah, Hover Shark, or Hover Ship on the Seed Shark. That means Thieving Haven's still free to go here, it looks like. Ooh. I can Phantasmal Image their Overlord, and that's a when it enters trigger? Oh, yeah. Okay. I need to draw land 5, but then I can image their Overlord and then grasp it. God, yeah, that feels like definitely the play. So this turn, that means I'm not Nightclub bouncing the Overlord anymore. So this turn we're on Obliterating Bolt, so I attack in, let them crew Hover Ship block, and then we just bolt the Hover Ship. Because if I just bolt the Gnome, then they respond by crewing anyway. I'd rather kill the Hover Ship and get a creature back. Please top deck land. For me, not opponent. I don't want them to top deck a land because then they can recast Overlord after we grasp it. No. I'm gonna manifest Jace just because it's cool. I'm gonna be attacking and blocking with Jace here. I guess it was a tap land that we just milled, so that wouldn't have worked anyway. Come on, top deck. Come on, top deck. Sure, goodbye, Jace. Let's go. Whee! I guess we can see if we draw hard removal out of their deck. White does have exile spells. That would be great on the Overlord. Close enough. The map tokens are actually useful for our opponent. That's 2 artifacts towards the smithy. But our board is insane right now. Thanks to being able to play a 2-mana Overlord of the Mistmoors. Seems like a pretty good deal. Phantasmal Image, kind of the MVP right now? Because we've gotten to Phantasmal Image and Overlord, and we've Phantasmal Imaged an Oracle to do Time Walk chains in an earlier game. Image is just sweet. So much better than the more expensive clones. Settle the Wreckage. That is very funny, but also kind of fine. I'll get a ton of mana and then start drawing 2 a turn. We're still in the winning position. Wedding announcement. I get a vampire every end step. A human every end step. Okay. Overlord, still have 5 mana up. Ooh, 1 mana treasure cruise? Yeah. Actually have to gold span first though, or I won't have the mana for the gold span. One, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can spend a blue and 1 off of the treasure, since gold span makes it 2. That way I get to keep 1 instance in my graveyard if I draw Torrential Gearhulk. Ooh, Luminarch Aspirant on top. Generally a strong card, definitely too slow against this board. We have lethal flying damage on board. Finds March of Otherworldly Light, that could save them if they can draw it here. Kellen is not going to draw it. We remain lethal with our flyers. End step wedding announcement trigger. Let's grab our tap land. Oh, we don't have any more. That's right, we milled the Triome. And let's send in lethal. There's the concession. That is 4-0 now. Absolute sweet stuff from this blue-red spells deck, and it's been a particularly spicy one with all these new to the cube cards like Jason. Phantasmal Image really putting in a lot of work. The Steaming Sauna as well, that has shown up a lot and been great. All right, maybe the sketchiest keep so far. We're probably going to have to just discard Opus no matter what here. But if we do immediately draw lands, this hand's going to turn great. But we need 3 mana, really. Once we get there, this draws 2, discards one of these flyers looking for lands. Or I can discard the 3 steps ahead or the Opus looking for lands. But if we draw any lands, this handy is going to be great. Now there's a Jace too. Alright, that is going to mean 100%. Cycle the Opus here. Fanatic of Ronus, hello. Yep. We're going to need to do this to hit land for turn. There's land for turn. Ditch. 3 steps ahead. I don't think, with my mana situation being what it is, I'm going to be able to hold up a counter too long. I think we can get to Treasure Cruise. Because we have 2 cards in grave already. Once I strangle, it's 3. We're only 1 mana from Jace and Goldspan Dragon's Grave. Maybe I have to ditch Goldspan, though. I don't want to ditch the Oracle. I'm going to ditch 3 steps ahead. Maybe this is wrong, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I just think we have a lot of really good sorcery speed plays. This at 3, this at 4, and this at 5. So we're just going to be playing those instead of holding up a counter. Since I don't have anything else to do at instant speed. Suspicious 4 mana up over there. If they had literally nothing, they would just put Lutri in hand. Get the companion tax out of the way. How bad is it if Oracle gets countered? It's kind of sad we don't get to do the spicy game plan, but it's really not the end of the world. Okay, Enduring Curiosity it is. No counterspell. Now the Power 9 is in the deck, which is actually pure upside right now, because we need mana bad. So even just drawing a Mox is good. Usually you get to the late game and the Moxes are dead draws, but they're all good here. That's a bummer. Guess we just gotta let them draw the card here. Probably have to strangle the Curiosity. Uro, more insane value, and a weirdly glitched animation. Titan of Nature's Wrath, why is the nature stopping halfway through the screen? Just completely cut off. Alright, opt. Find me some mana. I need it bad. Wait, I can Oracle first and then opt. That's better. Makes it more likely. Hey, that's a land. I guess now that I know I'm drawing a mountain, if they don't counter an Aether Channeler, I can go Aether Channeler, draw a card, Mountain Strangle. Some weird 4-color control deck? It is. Alright. I see triomes and green mana, and I just never expect the counters, so I do get got sometimes like that. Oh, Bonnie. Alright, GG. Yeah, you got it. Simic value pile with several real win conditions. Because now Oracle can't attack anymore either, unless I Jace back the Bonnie, but then they just kill the Jace immediately. The only universe in which this game turns around is if I start drawing just pieces of the Power 9 every turn. I just time walk over and over and over. Yeah, this is actively horrendous right now. I'd have to just strangle Curiosity Chump. It's gonna strangle and then Treasure Cruise here. Could jace the token, that is a permanent kill. Which is pretty good. Yeah, I guess I can strangle and opt and Treasure Cruise, which is definitely something. I need to draw actual factual. Oh. Second counterspell? Oh man, second counterspell. Yeah, alright. That's frustrating. So that would have countered Treasure Cruise anyway if we went that direction. I'm still gonna put that as another huge thumbs up to Phantasmal Image because it would have been insane had it resolved here. Like an Uro too? No, not yet. Soon. Oh, Teferi. Oh, Teferi. Time to see if they got every counterspell in the cube. If I go for Goldspan Dragon pre-time walk, I get destroyed by a counterspell or a removal spell, and adding a removal spell to the list of things I get destroyed by is super bad. So I think I have to just time walk without the Goldspan, which is significantly worse. But it's just too risky. Anything that blows up a creature gets me to not time walk here. Because I cast this. They respond by... Well... No, the only way Goldspan Dragon gets me where Time Walk doesn't is if they have a counter unless I pay 1 here, if they have like Censor or counter a creature here. Because if I cast Goldspan... and then they target it with removal, I can have Goldspan's ability resolve to give me the treasure, and then sack the treasure before the before the removal spell resolves. So I can get 2 mana out of the treasure if they kill it. Or if they let me go to combat, then I get an attack trigger for a treasure and removal spell trigger for a treasure. Yeah, I think we go for it. The only way we get got here is if they have exactly Censor. If they have any counter spell that could counter anything, then yeah, we were dead. Because we couldn't pay 4 for Time Walk at that point because I had to spend mana on drawing cards. I could have paid 3 for Time Walk, which is brutal. Alright, well, that sucked. That was just a frustrating bummer there. We were really stuck on mana and our opponent just had the infinite counterspells off all the green-blue card draw engines. So just not a winnable game, and we are 4-1 heading into game 6. All right, here we are on the draw for game 6. Great opener here. It's a treasure cruise too. Oh, they got some sweet sleeves. Some Transformers over there. I don't know any of the Transformers names. Well, that's not true. I know like Optimus Prime, Megatron. But I don't know what that one is. Sadly, I can't Roaring Furnace a vehicle, so they are going to draw plenty of cards off the Bank Buster. I can Roaring Furnace a Scholar, though. I can also Obliterating Bolt it, so if I hit a land for Snapcaster, that becomes an option. Alright, 1 mana from doing all the stuff we want to do. I think I have enough 5 mana stuff to do. I even just play the Overlord towards hitting the mana. Draw land, land, discard land. Nope. How sweet is Gearhulk here? We have no instance right now, but Gearhulk goes so hard later. And I've got the Treasure Cruise to try to dig for the Opus. It's so greedy to keep the Gearhulk here. Yeah, I just gotta get rid of the Gearhulk. Sadness on the stack. Play it safe here. Go for our guaranteed lines. Oracle of the Alpha. Now they have the Power 9 in their deck. I feel like I just Goldspan Dragon here. I think whatever I do is going to get countered. But like if I go for Roaring Furnace, I don't have a double spell to follow it up with. Like I guess if they counter the Roaring Furnace, I can Unnerving Grasp the Oracle, but that's pretty terrible. We don't want to do that. Yeah, they've only got 2 mana up here. It's possible they don't have a counter. Just go for the Goldspan. And if it does get countered, that's not the end of the world either. And obviously if it gets killed, it's really not, because we get the treasure. I could Snapcaster for nothing off of that, but that's fine. I'll just keep the treasure. Crabomination. Oh god, please get bad RNG. They got our Goldspan, man. Come on. That's literally the best hit for them in our hand. Because they get the instant damage, the double treasure. God dang it. There were some really bad hits in our hand. Unnerving Grasp and Snapcaster Mage would have been awful. The Sauna, they could still play the Sauna half. Curiosity would give them a piece of card draw immediately. So those would be fine hits, these two. But Goldspan's an insane hit. Could just be game here. It was so good for them. 5 cards in hand. If I furnace here. Alright, man. They have 2 mana up off this treasure. I have to hope what's holding for them is just the ability to use Bankbuster or Crew Bankbuster. Give it back, please. And thank you. Okay. Wasn't thinking of it till this turn, but the fact that we get to bounce our own Goldspan back to our hand means maybe it was actually just tied with all the other hits for just being decent for our opponent. If they had the counter spell for the bounce, then Goldspan definitely would have been their best hit out of our hand for Cribblemination. Okay. The impending doom of the Overlord. Lying in wait. Squeaky chair is squeaking. One day I'll eventually convince myself to spend money on a chair. Today's not that day yet. Still rocking my, what, $30 Amazon share, whatever this is. Oh, okay. All they have is a crab now? I don't have enough mana to do much, though. Just get a Goldspan countered and pass. Oh, they got Murderous Cut? Oh, Torrential Gearhulk for bounce spells. Okay. Still pretty good. We're down at 13 here, so that is an issue. I have to Snapcaster on Nerve and Grasp Gearhulk. That's just bad, because then they recast it. Yeah, no, we're in a bad spot. The Overlord could help if it manages to stick around. I guess I could technically try to double block this Gearhulk, but that feels risky. One removal spell then wipes the whole board. Otterball Elite. Cute. Copy instants and sorceries. Oh, only if its power is 3 or greater. So they have to prowess trigger a couple times to do that. And Duelist of the Mind. And that's it. Okay. Found a new land. They have 1 mana up. They probably can't counter Goldspan then. And Goldspan will have 2 treasures on board. We'll have 5 mana, which is enough for Snapcaster. Plus a 3-drop. However, I don't think I'm actually bouncing Gearhulk. I think I'm just trumping it next turn. It might be like Snapcaster Strangle here. I wish I could remember if I played land for turn yet. I think I did, so I think I'd take this Steam Vents here. If I didn't, I'd rather have the no life payment land. But I could probably just play a tap land next turn and it's fine. Okay. Yeah, so I can strangle Duelist of the Mind or Kitsa here. Off of Snapcaster. I guess Duelist might be scarier, because we held no flying blockers up. We're clearly trying to kill them with flying on the crackback. What if I Treasure Cruise here as well? No, that's not going to work, because I need to Snapcaster away enough cards that I can't Treasure Cruise anymore, I think. I guess we'll see how much mana this ends up being. But I don't think I can Treasure Cruise after this. Alright, let's see if I get blown out for this play. For killing Duelist instead of Kitsa, because it is possible that they have 2 instant sorceries in hand to where they just go like play a random removal spell and then like cast Time Warp and copy Time Warp and then we lose. Yeah, we didn't have Treasure Cruise mana after that. But I think on average it's better to kill the flyer there. But there are hands they could have where Keats is just going to kill us. Because all you have to do is cast 2 spells, because the prowess trigger will resolve before the spell resolves. So your second spell is going to prowess Kitsa up to the 3 power. And then once that prowess trigger resolves, then before the spell resolves, you copy the spell. Ooh, they did get Ancestral Recall. Yeah. They hit either power 9, then Kitsa does just go insane. They could Ancestral Recall into Time Warp. On the plus side, even without Kitsa on board, Ancestral Recall into Time Warp would kill us. And they didn't hit it. Okay. I can put them to 2, hoping to draw into 2 damage of burn. Draw 2, discard 1, have a bunch of mana up. And a Treasure Cruise to dig farther. Oh, Opus is theoretically the kill. Could copy their Gear Hulk as well. If they counter the Opus, if I have enough mana, I can image their Gear Hulk. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana. 8 on this, 3 for a counter spell. I can pay 8 for this and hold up a 3 mana counter spell. Or 8 for this, hold up 1 for Treasure Cruise and 2 for Image. And Treasure Cruise gets to dig for some other way to deal 2. And then I can also just Image Gear Hulk if the Opus gets countered. I somehow feel like it's more flexible to do Cruise and Image for the other 3 than it is to do the 1 counter spell up. This could absolutely be wrong, but here I am. That did not seem like a counterspell, and there's the Play with Fire. So now we see if Play with Fire resolves. If it doesn't, we image it, or we Opus. Or we counter. We can actually counter, yeah, by doing it this way, if we draw into a 2 damage burn spell, or, yeah, 2 damage burn spell, then we now have more backup plans, because we can counter their counter, and then if they have another counter so that this goes to grave, then I can image their Gear Hulk on this instead. So the way we played it did work out better, since we did have a play with fire in the top. Oh, let's go. 3 steps ahead, baby. Get that out of here. The GG. Whew, good game. Really close one. Pretty insane final turn for us. It's always funny to me how you have to resolve this scry on Play with Fire, even with your opponent sitting at 0 life. That's a little tragic. All right, that is 5-1. This is where we'd be in the money in any Premier draft. I don't think quite in the money in Cube. This is the break-even point here. But we take it. Got to play a bunch of Cube for free. Got some random rares for free. So technically the tiniest bit in the money. But we'll see how far we can take it as we head into round number 7. All right, here we are on the play for game number 6. Got that Xander's Lounge to start things off for our blue-red fixing. Pretty reasonable keep. The Snapcaster doesn't do anything here, but got a good 3 and 4 mana curve. Pretty much any draws are good. That is no exception. Roaring Furnace, Steaming Sun has been consistently pretty great for us. All right, Gruul from our opponent. Potentially pretty aggressive, but they haven't played anything yet. Could see an argument for Steam Core Scholar here to try to make sure that we hit land 4. But I always like getting Seed Shark out before I play any non-creatures, and we may be playing a Roaring Furnace next turn on one of their creatures. We also don't have anything good to discard to the Steam Core Scholar right now, which is quite awkward. It's a slight disaster there. I don't think I need to kill this Bone Crusher badly enough to not just get some value here. Just gonna Curiosity. That land draw was beautiful, as is this one. We're super happy to just hit a land draw every turn. As long as we only hit 1 land per turn. If I start drawing a land in my turn and then drawing one off Curiosity as well, that'll be floody. But super happy to hit my land drops here for now. Steam Core Scholar, continuing to look a little awkward. No flyers or instants or sorceries in hand. Ooh, Questing Beast is very good against Jace. You know, it's just going to trade on attacks anyway, so I might as well take the trade here. I still get to draw a card every turn off hitting them with Seed Shark alone. So this is not bad. I mean, I guess I could have furnace that thing and then drawn 2 this turn. That would actually probably be better. But this way I get to clear the entire board, which also feels very good. And this kind of just feels like we have it on lock right now. We need to have some really insane cards to turn it around from here. At this point I wouldn't hate discarding 2 lands, but I think it's still better to just ditch the 1 card. Well, what I was going to say is at this point they need some really insane cards, but Cube has some really insane cards, so you never know. Enduring Curiosity is just wild for us. Strangle is a good draw. I probably should have flipped that and drawn a third card. So many misplays. Yeah, I can't do anything about that. Hope for 2, draw 1. Yeah, we could be astronomically ahead here if I like played that outright. Ooh. This is also pretty astronomically ahead. I'm gonna get 2 4/4 eggs. If we flip all these, we have 10 power worth of eggs now. And I guess the one nice thing about not flipping up that egg is it did mean I had the mana up to go for the Jace after the Phantasmal Image there, so that I could play my most expensive non-creature spell when I have double Seed Shark on the board. All right, Bloodbraid Elf. Spin the wheel. Go for RNGesus. Well, X equals 0. That's some pretty bad RNGesus. Okay. I can just go for lethal if they don't have removal, so let's do that. Don't even have to spend a spell to go for lethal here. Here's exactly 14. All right, 6-1. We are 1 win away from a full undefeated run. Our first well, not undefeated. And it wouldn't be our, I think we 7-winned with mono black. We either 7-win or went 6-3. I think this will be our first 7-win run. I think we went 6-3 with mono black first time. So fingers crossed here. This deck has been incredible. Phantasmal Image, yet again, gets the Overperformer award. That card has been phenomenal. 2 mana to clone is just absurd in a format where the vast majority of the time, when you're targeting a creature, you're targeting it with removal, so the downside just kind of doesn't even exist. Card is just fantastic. We've played 2 mana Gearhulks, 2 mana Overlord, the White Overlord even. Even a 2 mana Chrome Host Seed Shark is insane. So, the Seed Shark has just been on another level. Double blue up, you say? I would just be so sad if Avon gets countered that I think I'm waiting for like 6 mana here and just holding up my own counterspell. Just gonna keep staring at each other. Oh no, control mirror. Control mirror. Well, maybe I can get them to throw a counter at the wrong time and let Opus Gearhulk pop off. If I go for Thieving Haven next turn, we rip a counter out of their hand. And then maybe they don't have it up for Opus Gearhulk. Otherwise, I'm just gambling on drawing land 6 to go Avon, holding up 3 steps ahead. I guess they play any threats, we Obliterating Bolt, including Planeswalkers. Yeah, we sit. Young Pyromancer, sure. Bolt that. Okay, I don't bolt that. I actually Avon. I think think I bolt and Aven, and I just don't do the counter nonsense here. Because if I go for the Aven, and then they play a counter spell, and then I counter that, and then Aven resolves, then they go untap, use another removal spell on Aven, they end up with like 2 creatures there. And that's just really bad for me. Okay. Swords to Plowshares. Mythic tier removal spell. Just insanely efficient. Hello, Censor. I don't feel I need to Snapcaster Bolt a Channeler. If I top deck a land, I can Gear Hulk holding up Censor, but Censor's not likely to be able to counter their counter. Possible, but not likely. Literally all of their mana up. There's no way Gear Hulk resolves. Just gonna Snapcaster Opt and go for value here. Borrower only bounces opposing threats. About a 3/1 flyer is enough to kill them. They'll have to spend a counterspell or removal spell or something on it. Channeler their Channeler so we can Channeler while they Channeler. Let's just draw a card. Borrower being instant speed here is obviously also a huge deal. If they have their own Opus, we get to hold up our counterspell. Borrower if they don't do it. Prismari Command. Draw 2, discard 2, get a treasure, sure. Card selection. Psychic Frog. Okay, that can get really, really big, but I've got the bounce spell for it if they dump too many counters onto it. Yeah, I think we are just playing things out awkwardly slow here. So that our haymakers are the last things we do. Because we can still be ahead just by playing bounce nonsense. If I go for Petty Theft instead, I can hold up both my counter spells. Not that Censor's likely to matter, but it could. And if it doesn't, again, Brazen Borrower is enough to kill them. Like, if we don't need to do any counters here, slap out the Borrower, slam out the Borrower. Nightclub bouncers are a particularly big one. Taxing them on the recast of the Psychic Frog. I only need to hold up one counterspell doing this. This play is very strong. Don't know if it's strong enough to counter Disdainful Stroke, though. They have 3 cards in hand. They have to discard 2 to make Psychic Frog big enough to kill Borrower. So they have to go discard 2, exile cards from grave, block Borrower to kill it here. And they're down to 1 card if they do that. But then Psychic Frog just draws them a million. Okay, I think either way I play this, I'm not holding up a counter. I think I have to counter that stroke or go for the bounce on Frog here. Okay. Borrower can block flyers, right? Yes. Put them down to 1 card in hand. Trade Snapcaster for a card in hand here. Is that worth it? They have more than enough cards in grave to keep giving the frog flying, so yeah, Snapcaster's not going to block the frog anyway. Cool. They don't have something they want to discard to Psychic Frog. Probably got their counters out of here. There's the Strangle for Borrower. Psychic Frog draws a card. They need to immediately draw more counters, or now we can finally Opus it up. Come on, land. Land 8, so that I can hard cast Opus, and then if it gets countered, I still have Gear Hulk Opus. Yes, let's go. They already have pretty much infinite mana up, so I'm going to Opus in their upkeep. I'm going to do 4 to Psychic Frogs so that they can't discard their hand to keep it, just in case their hand is really bad. At least this way they have to discard their whole hand to keep it. Oh, God, yeah, they still have the Torrential after all that. Bummer, but now they're tapped out from our Torrential. So now we get to Torrential Opus and kill them. I think we lethal them here if they don't have another 2-mana counter. And even if they do, now I have the Censor up, so it has to be a really, really cheap counter spell where they can afford Censor. And Oracle's not it. Okay. This isn't actually technically lethal. I've just realized and I'm sad. It's so close. Tap both the blockers, deal 4, attack with Snapcaster. Put them to 3 life. Or I just kill the Psychic Frog to stop their card draw engine. I feel like I have to kill Psychic Frog. And again, I have to do 4 so they can't discard both those to save it if they suck. If I Roaring Furnace the Oracle, I don't get to hold up my counter here. I'm holding up the counter. I'm stress incarnate because if we win this one, we're out of here. It's our 7th win. This has been a really weird one with how slow that we played it, but the sheer quantity of counters they played, I think means it was right to play it how we did. If I counter this here, worst case scenario, they aren't going to be able to afford anything that they Time Twister into. Best case scenario, they don't have a counter for our counter, which looks like the spot here. Okay. They're at 7. I get Phantasmal Image Gear Hulk. Does that even do anything? Cast a 3 steps ahead, but I have to spend the spree. So no. Could Image Snapcaster, which does actually do something. Okay, I'm almost certain I can kill them somehow here, so let's just figure it out. Definitely involves a Roaring Furnace on one of the creatures. Image, Snapcaster, kill another creature. I guess I can't. 3 steps ahead is 3 mana to spree. How does the spree work? You just choose the additional cost. So spree 3, create a copy. Artifact or creature. I can't copy an enchantment. Could do Unnerving Grasp. I can image Snapcaster Unnerving Grasp and still have 2 up. I don't want to Unnerving Grasp a Gear Hulk though. I'm sure their grave is full. And they could Prismari Commander Swords to Plowshares. I don't have, let's see, 1, 2 plus 1, 2, 3. I could do 3 steps ahead Phantasmal Image. So Phantasmal Image Gear Hulk, 3 steps ahead, make a copy of Snapcaster as well. Have 2 mana for the Snapcaster. 2 mana equals Obliterating Bolt. That's the biggest I can do then. Since I don't want to why can't I pay the 3? Oh, there we go. Since I don't want to bounce Gear Hulk anyway, we just bolt Oracle. Okay, and then this is like the best we can do. They have to bounce off Gear Hulk, go to 1. That is the most lethalist board state possible. I'm not holding up Censor, but I mean, look at their lands. I don't think that's a thing. Looks like they might have hit their own Snapcaster, which is really not good. Oh, dig through time. Dig for that time walk. Yeah, like Time Walk Snapcaster can still win the game for our opponent. We've won similarly faraway games through just Time Walk loop nonsense after resolving an Oracle in the early game. So that's really the one thing we're scared of here. But I think we've done pretty much all we can here to maximize our chances. Thundertrap Trainer, one last dig for the Time Walk. I don't imagine it's in the top 4, or they would have clicked on it by now. It might already be in their hand, and they're trying to find stuff to make their next turn even more impactful, and potentially loop from there. House Meld. Oh my god, that's so good. Because they can House Meld a Gearhulk? Jesus Christ. Sure. Talk about busted alchemy cards. House Meld Gearhulk dig through time here. House Meld actually better than Control Magic in the cube, I think, because of powerful enter the battlefield effects like Torrential Gearhulk. Yeah. I mean, at that point, I mean, they dug like 20 cards deep in one turn. House Meld Gearhulk dig through time us. They do still need, like, yeah, something massively impactful. Now they can just breach the multiverse into a Snapcaster if they have one. They can get their thing that gives cards in their grave flashback. That works. They pick that thing up. Actually, that's in their hand right now. I think I bounced it. No, it's in their grave. Yeah, they just pick up their Sapphire Collector and then flashback Time Walk and go ham. Oh, they picked up Oracle. If we get another turn here, then that is way more of a chance than we deserve to get with what they hit here, because they could have just Time Walked again. Because it's 3 mana to do the Time Walk. I guess if they have a land in their hand, they could have Time Walked again. If they don't have a land in hand, then they couldn't have done it. That might be the case here. Thieving Haven with the loot-mongered heisted card. Yep, counter on both. Okay. We get a turn to draw into burn. Couldn't be me. Oh, not just immediately. Couldn't be me hitting play with fire 2 games for lethal. That's so filthy. We did that to people twice. Oh man. Yeah, that's what it is. We had 5 cards left, so I guess it was a 1 in 5 shot there. Wow, that's gross. And we had the sensor too, so we actually had a 2 out of 5 chance of hitting the play with fire. After all that super crazy turn, our opponent maths out all their mana and their flashback really well, figures out, oh, we can do the gear hole, get the dig through time, dig even more. Oh, I found the time walk. But then there's me at the other side of the table. Play with fire. All right, well, we were not a mono red aggro deck today. We were not an aggro deck at all, but I still got some brain dead kills off of Play with Fire, and I enjoy those. Those are great. We are 7-1 now for the full trophy run, leaving with the maximum prize out of this event. This was a super sweet deck, definitely an overperformer. I thought it was a good blue-red spells deck, but not like a great one. But it played just insanely well. Just having a ton of cheap interaction was huge. Being able to burn away and counter a lot of stuff was very, very important. And we obviously have the huge end game with the Opus Gear Hulk combo, but also Oracle of the Alpha, giving you an alternate time walk kind of win con. And several of those games we also did just the general deck idea of playing a bunch of flyers and interacting with what our opponent had. That just gets us a ton of damage throughout the game because we have so many flying threats and stuff, and so many ways to slow down their blockers for those. So really, really good deck. Super happy with it. We got to play with Jace. We got to play with Phantasmal Image. We got to play with these sweet reprints that just hit Arena for the first time, as well as some sweet new cards from Duskmourn like Overlord and Enduring Curiosity, and all the new hotness we put in this deck played really well. So it was really nice to see it all. But Overperformer Award certainly goes to Phantasmal Image. This card just seems absolutely nutter butters and cube when you can play an insane 5 or 6 drop for just 2 mana. and the kinds of 5 and 6 drops that make it into cube are straight up insanity. Super flexible, super powerful card. So, yeah, really, really excellent run today. Really fun one. I hope you all enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed playing it, but that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more on your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.